The title of the speech is The Mountain Within, Elishibah Msengeti, Elishibah Msengeti, The Mountain Within.
As a leader, if you want to be effective, it is imperative that you understand three things: yourself, the people you're leading, and the environment within which you are leading. If you grasp one or two of these three elements, but not all three, it is very easy for you to end up with a story like the emperor's new clothes. If you know that story, you know that there were no clothes involved after all. An incident in 2018 taught me just how important it is to understand yourself as a leader. The morale was low in the organization where I was working. And as a senior manager, I noticed that there was a sad cloud of disillusionment hanging over everyone for weeks on end. Realizing this, I decided to write a short speech which I would deliver to encourage everybody. I managed to get a slot on the Monday morning gathering where the whole organization usually met every week. When I was called to the front, I went, smiled, and started to deliver my speech. I reminded everybody of the sacrifices that they had made. I reminded them of moments that I had witnessed, of teamwork and hard work. In fact, we had just had an event that weekend, and I had witnessed very many more beautiful moments where people went over and beyond the call of duty. I also reminded them of the vision and mission of the organization. I threw in some African proverbs, some wise sayings, and something profound about a sinking ship, which I now cannot recall. I actually thought that this speech was going to be akin to the speech of Martin Luther King Jr. You know, encouraging, motivating, historical, a speech that would be remembered for years to come. In fact, I thought there might be a few tears from the audience that would then be followed later by messages of people thanking me for reminding them about how great we were as a team. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, it did not go down that way. I received a half-hearted applause, and as I went back to my seat, there was awkward silence. I died a little bit inside. I went back to my office and wondered what had just happened. In fact, my expectation and what happened and the reality were as far as Kisumu is from Mombasa, about 1,000 kilometers. A colleague who was not in management later came to my office and told me that people were saying that the speech was really good, but that the timing was wrong. Why? Because the issues that we had were much deeper than a speech could solve. Also, the fact that I was in management meant that I was actually part of the problem. When I was reading about leadership styles for this Toastmasters project, I realized that my leadership style is actually majorly three styles, which is the altruistic, the affiliative, and the coaching style of leadership. These types of leaders lead by affirming the team, by giving positive statements that are supposed to foster morale and foster personal gratification. These type of leaders do very well in an environment that is also receptive of that type of leadership. I realized that I should have read the environment better and read the team that I was leading better. Perhaps I should have enlisted the styles of the bureaucratic leaders, the democratic leaders who could bring in everybody to find the problem and to get to the heart of the matter, rather than focusing on just one moment of encouraging and uplifting a team when there were deeper wounds. Later on, I listened to an engaged talk by Paul Mutaura in which he highlighted three things that I thought were very important for me to understand as a leader. One, he said, never believe your own hype. I had done exactly that, believed my own hype, and it was brought down faster than I could say Timbuktu. Secondly, Nothing is ever that simple, ever. There are always layers that need to be unpacked. And thirdly, it's not always only about what is being said, but who is saying it matters too. In that moment, my role as a leader actually meant that what I was saying could not be digested by my listeners. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, as a leader, there are many, many mountains to climb. The mountains of learning, the mountains of understanding yourself. If you fail to do this, if you fail to climb these mountains, you might just end up with that story that I mentioned of the emperor's new clothes. What's even more important is that while part of the mountain is outside, a big chunk of this mountain is within. Mr. Toastmaster,